to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through the industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Evan Matthews, director, screenwriter, producer. Welcome to the show, Evan.
Oh, it's great being here, AJ. Really appreciate it.
You are welcome to the show. You are welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people, especially creative people all across the world, will benefit from what we are talking about. So, first, to understand from you, Evan, that we'll be talking about, that about habits, discipline, and mindset. And this is where I put it in a different manner, the simple habit that defeated everyone except successful people. So, in a way, saying that this is a habit that will certainly make you successful. I want to understand in your busy creative life, where did you start talking about habits, discipline, and mindset? Help us understand that part of the milestone in your long journey.
Absolutely. The habits and discipline, the mindset work all came in the last few years of my life. I have been successful in my career. I've been in the entertainment industry for about 17 years at this point. But it was about 3 years ago, all of a sudden, I had to get more focused with my effort, more intentional with what I'm doing, instead of just going from job to job and a little bit of success here, a little bit of success there, but understanding what were the qualities and habits and routines that I had or didn't have back then. And I was just kind of moving forward. I was getting lucky, maybe not being fully prepared and just getting by enough, but being capable and moving forward. Now, what happened is I said, okay, I don't want to leave things to chance. I want to take control of my own life. I never want to look at myself as a victim of circumstances. I'm in control of what's going on around me. And how can I do that? Well, if you take control, you have to take control at least with little things in your life first. So where can I start? So one area I started with like discipline is like, okay, I'm going to get up extremely early. I'm going to get up around 3 a.m. every single day, and I'm not going to miss. Let me just prove that to myself and stick to that. And then that became a routine. And then I'm getting up super early in the morning, and I am exercising first thing in the day. So now I'm doing something for myself and my physical fitness. And it's not because I need to get in this crazy, incredible shape. It's because of the mental battle and the war you're having in your mind when you're going outside of your comfort zone, which is your warm bed at 3 in the morning, to go exercise by 4 or 4:30 in the morning. But also I start building out a routine. I'm like, okay, I have these habits that are making me better, and I'm starting to see change. And now I'm going to add in reading and reading more books and making sure I'm writing and screenwriting every day. And then I just keep on adding to the list. So you start forming these habits, you kind of dive in, you're taking a chance, you're putting faith behind that. And it's like, when I talk about like putting faith behind it, it's like, you're going to the gym. You don't see the results right away, but you believe if you stick with it, you'll get there. You'll start to manifest that. You'll start to see it. That's why that is such a great place to begin, because all of a sudden you're seeing a transformation taking place. And you say, oh, okay, if I really apply myself here, where else can I apply myself and just be dedicated and stick with it without giving up? The same thing with like a nutrition plan. I decided I'm going to teach myself how to eat right. I'm going to teach myself how to get healthy. I'm not going to wait for doctors and so to give me some blanket prescription or nutrition plan. I'm going to figure out what's specifically right for me. So I was a bit of an amateur dietitian experimenting on myself for the last 3.5 years. I was figuring it out. That's when it really starts to stick. It's actually when you feel like you're moving backwards or you're learning these hard lessons. This is actually making you stronger and catapulting you forward. Even though you're taking a step back, you're actually going to have a leap forward. So all of these little habits start to accumulate these little wins every single day. So I'm waking up. If I wake up and I beat my emotions, whatever my brain is telling me, Evan, you're tired. Evan, you don't feel like it. Evan, why don't you just sleep a little more? It's just 10 more minutes. That's an emotional reaction that's happening in your body. And I have to say, my emotions are not in charge. My brain is in charge. I have to reprogram myself. And that's really when things started to change. I started to um, write more, be disciplined with my craft, which is screenwriting. It starts there. I wasn't just director first that came out of the gates as Evan, the filmmaker. It started with like, I have to take control of my content. I have to take control of the product I'm actually making and putting out into the world. So we're getting up and writing every morning, and also finding little tips and tricks to trick myself into writing. Because if there's any writers out there, anybody, because I know you have people on here on your podcast all the time that are writing books,
Right.
it's so hard to write a book. It's hard to sit down really early and carve out that time, not find time. No, you have to make time. You can't just leave it to chance if there's an opening during the day. That I hope there's an opening, and I hope I'm motivated in that opening to also complete a task. No, you have to force yourself. You have to bet on yourself, and you have to push through if you really want that win. These are all little wins that are stacking up throughout the day, and then you start to feel unstoppable. Then when the day is when it's 9 a.m. and you already put in 5 hours of work, and everyone's getting up and going to their job, now you've done all of these priming routines to get you winning, 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 and then the problems of the day start coming at you, and you can just handle them one by one and be calm, cool, collected, and really have the ability to get some space, step back, think, and find the strategy to move forward. And that's a big part of filmmaking, probably the biggest.
Right, Evan. Right. I wanted to bring this discipline and habits and mindset part initially, so that, people understand it's important that a person who is so busy, who is into this line and can have erratic schedules, still puts his life, within a particular schedule to be able to make the best use of whatever time he has got. I wanted to understand, for the larger creator economy, now it's the creator economy. A lot of people are into this creative business. You are into films, you are into that creative line. A lot of creators keep on creating things at their own level. You talked about waking up at 3 a.m. A creative line or film line can be, very difficult in terms of the timings. You can finish something at 12, 1, 2. How do you manage these things in a practical level if somebody asks you in that manner? And he'll say, okay, why even, why to go for 3 o'clock? I will wake up at 6 o'clock, and then how did you build all these things? And at the same time, you got your family also, you got your work also, and that, and within that time you also have to build that fitness routine. Simplify it is in your, because you are there, you know about it, you have mastered it, so you will be able to tell much more better, so that people can better understand it and follow for themselves.
Sure. Well, first of all, getting up so early was something that just worked for me. Me and my wife, when I started this early routine, we had a new baby, and it was when the lockdowns happened in America. And I looked at the writing on the wall, and I said to myself, things are going to get out of control pretty quickly with like my health and everything. Because I was waking up every morning, my back was hurting, I was like 35 pounds heavier. I felt awful every day. And I said, this can't continue. And it's only going to get worse if we can't go outside and go get food or just eat comfort stuff. So we had a new baby in the house. And I said, okay, when can I make this time for myself? And it has to be super early in the morning. The baby's asleep. My other son's asleep. My wife is asleep. So it's me being completely selfish by waking up incredibly early in the morning. I don't know if that's selfish. Maybe it's a little bit of crazy, but I figured this is where it has to happen. I'm so sick of my life. I'm sick of the way I feel. I'm not happy with where I am. I don't like leaving my career up to other people. I need to take control. It's got to start there. And I have a twin brother, and he was in incredible shape. And I was looking at him like, man, what did you do to get it together? He's like, you want to get up early? That's great, but you just need to start working out too. Like hit the ground and just do 5 push-ups. That's it. That's where it started. It just started with just doing like 5 push-ups, and I just added to it each day and got more complicated routines and added more time in. So it was gradual. Even waking up at 3, it didn't start off at 3. It actually started off at 4:30, and then every week I would back up my alarm by 15 minutes until I got to that sweet spot and conditioned myself to wake up early. And now, most mornings I wake up before my alarm, and even with like a very unpredictable creative schedule. So like when we're scheduling our movie, because I'm going to production for my feature film in October. So I'm going to New York in a couple of weeks. We'll be filming through all of October and some of November. And you have night shoots and you have day shoots, and you might have a 12 or 16-hour day, but I'm still going to get up early. I'm still going to do my whole routine because those are all the things that made me successful. And it's also me proving to myself that I can do this and I can maintain these things. Because I feel I feel great once I get up. It's hard. It's hard when you climb out of bed that early in the morning. As soon as you're standing and you take a big drink of water or you turn the lights on, all of a sudden you're like, okay, we're doing this. Here we go. This is go time. This is my favorite part of the day. This is my favorite part of the day. Everyone's asleep. It's nice and quiet. There's no excuses for why I can't move forward right now. This is it. This is my time. This is effing time. So, it feels great. It hurts at first every single morning, but that's you wake up and you get an instant win. That feels great. I went years without getting any wins and just like leaving it up to life and circumstance. And all of a sudden you take a hold of the reins of your life. You say, no, I'm in control, not my emotions and my feelings. Me, I can outthink all of that. I can control it. And when you're on set, when you're a director and you have a million people asking you a million questions, because essentially I'm the curator of everything. I'm in the position to look at all the options from the production designer and costume and wardrobe, makeup, art direction, props, the actors, the producers. Everyone's coming at me, and I'm the one that has to have the answers. And I have to have the ability to not have an emotional reaction. And I have to sit back there like some mafia boss or something and just survey the situation, right? And I just look at it all. I take in all the information. I'm an observer. I'm a diplomat, and I'm going to weigh everything and say these are the best ideas. This is how we're going to win. This is how we're going to use this collaborative medium to make the best product possible. It's not about me. It's all about serving the project. And if I come out of character, if I let the emotions get the better of me, and everybody, I have 50, 70 people on set watching me, and I come out of character, I'm emotional, that I'm setting the tempo and the pace for how my set's going to be run. And other people can be emotional, then other people can get out of control. But they look at me and I'm as calm as a cucumber and everything's going to plan, or at least it seems like everything's going to plan. Um, Everyone looks, it's like, oh man, Evan, I guess we're doing great. Evan's doing good. We feel good about this. Let's keep marching forward. And essentially that's what happens. So as a leader, it's really critical to be able to lead by example. And these are the qualities and the things that I've needed to do to lead that example. And when it starts off as just something small as a wake up time, all the way through, you have millions of dollars in your budget and the weight of the world on your shoulders. You got to be able to handle it. But it's a mental battle. That's why when we talk about mindset, that's really the game. That's You're at war with yourself. You're going to war in the gym. You're going to war when you go into your pantry and you're looking at the food and you want to eat the really tasty, fat, salty stuff, or you want to eat like some chicken and vegetables and rice, something that'll be a great balanced plate that is serving your body's needs to grow and be healthy. So all of these things matter. They all add up. So that this is like a very specific routine that I have that I protect at all costs because I've seen the fruit from that. This is how I got my feature film. I had to become this person. And that's why I'll fight to keep those things. And as tired as I will be, if I go to bed 10, 11, 12 at night, I'm still going to get up early because then all of a sudden you are in a whole new world of circumstances. Let's say I'm getting up and I'm trying to read or I'm trying to like pray and meditate in the morning, trying to go to the gym. And if you are tired, you have a whole new kind of mental battle going on in your mind. Instead of having home court advantage, you're playing an away game. You're playing in some unknown arena with unknown fans. It's like you should be able to win in any scenario. This is a great test day for yourself. So I think hopefully that answers your question a little
Absolutely,
bit.
absolutely, Evan. And in fact, I was listening to it, and some of it I can relate. Sometimes I do manage to get up early, not every day and not that early, but yeah, it is a very different feeling. You feel a lot different, and also many a times I get to see the sun rising. If you
Yes.
know, and that is an that is such a wonderful thing, and it is like you communicate with the sun, and sometimes you can tell the sun that, listen, I am early, you are late. Well, it
Ah,
is, that's in a way you can say, but actually it is showing up every day. We got to be ready, through our discipline, through our habits, to show up, whenever there is a need for us, either in terms of the work we do, either in terms of our family. And that's what a real man should do, or anyone else should do. In terms of, now let's get back to the movies part, your direction part, production part, screenwriting part. How should people in India, suppose, want to understand about you? What would you like to tell them about you, so that they know better about you, and they go and look about your work online?
yeah. Well, I'll say this just for me personally, and coming up through the entertainment industry, it's been quite a journey. I've done almost every job you could think of on a film set or production office or behind the scenes in some capacity. Like my first job as was an intern, like most basic level when I was in college. I drove, an hour and a half into Hollywood from my college, so I was always the first one there and the last to leave, and it was really hard to do, but it was like a blessing in disguise. Because of that, I was putting in the most work, and I moved out of like the story department where you're doing like slave labor of copying scripts and running coffee and doing coverage and mindless data entry to all of a sudden I'm on the president's desk helping the executive assistant and fielding phone calls and talking, getting screamed at by agents and all the crazy Hollywood stories. They do exist. I've been witness to them. But then I would go and be a production assistant on set of like a major TV show, like the show 24 that I did. The PA working in the corners of like the dirtiest parts of Los Angeles. You do it with a smile on your face and work those 16-hour days or more. And it's a great learning experience. And it really tests like, how bad do you want this? And then you move up the ranks there. And then I realized, how do these shows get created? So I want to go be an executive assistant to some producers. So I was on a producer's desk in some reality TV company. And then I moved up and worked for Mark Burnett, who's like a major reality TV producer in Hollywood. He's created shows like Survivor, Apprentice, The Voice, Shark Tank, the Bible series. The list goes on and on. He's just had his hand in everything. So I learned from him. He's like, he's close to $1 billion. So to have that type of a mentor, leader, executive showing you how he does his job was just invaluable. And then I got off his desk and became a producer under him. But I always wanted to be a filmmaker. So I decided, okay, I want to get out of the reality world because you do get typecasted. You get put into a certain lane. So I was trying to get into the feature world. Like, no, Evan, you are a reality TV person. I'm like, no, I promise you, I have all this feature and TV experience. I've just done this lately. They're like, yeah, that's what you've been the most successful at. So just stay in that lane. I was determined not to. I had to rebrand essentially. So I said, okay, if I'm going to leave this lucrative producing job, I'm only going to go to the best film school in the world, and that's USC School of Cinematic Arts. USC is incredibly difficult to get into. It's harder to get into than MIT. I think that they accept like 48 students a year, and I ended up being one of the 48. I had to be waitlisted to like the following year because of like when I applied in the timeline, which is also another blessing in disguise because then I got to go shadow directors on TV sets. So I went through my contact lists and I shadowed one of my director friends for like 6 episodes of network television. So I got all of this real world practical directing experience, watching directors cast, work with actors, how they do their prep, how they do their shoots, how they block their camera shots, how they work with a strange crew. Because when you're a TV director, you inherit a crew. You don't get to put it together like I've been able to do on a bunch of my short films or little indie projects. You inherit someone else's crew and what that's like and the problems that come with that and how to troubleshoot it. So I'd take all that, all my industry experience, bring that into USC Film School, really overachieved there. I made an incredibly ambitious thesis film, which is the movie poster behind me. It's called Recoil. That actually ended up getting licensed on the Dust channel on YouTube, so people can see it over there. We could share links later, and that got me representation right out of USC. And then I went on to just keep writing and forging that part of the craft. Now, my advice to creatives, especially for the film industry, whether it's Bollywood or Hollywood, it all starts on the page. The hardest thing to do is to write. Absolutely the hard. When you face a blank page and you have to fill that with incredible drama, that's incredibly hard to do. It takes years and years of trial and error. So actually, through halfway through film school, I had to switch gears. I was on the directing track, and I realized this isn't going to be worth anything if I can't write my own stories. If I can't control my own content, if I can't understand character motivation, I can't be a better director for my actors. So I switched gears. I kept my directing master's track and then added a screenwriter's master's track to that. So you can graduate with one or the other. I decided I'm going to do both. I know what it is to put in the long, hard hours in Hollywood. So I'm going to take that experience and roll that into my experience here at USC, and I'm going to come out with the screenwriting masters on top of the directing one. And that has served me so incredibly well. I mean, I read all the books, you write all the screenplays, you do all the test experiences with your script, and then you do, doing table reads, getting real actors to read your scenes, like do the real work, the scary work. Because I'll tell you, when you put your work up in front of a room and you have actors breathing life into your script, it's thrilling and horrifying. Like your adrenaline is just through the roof. Like you just feel so alive. Same thing when you screen your movie at a festival or have your premiere. It is just it's the most thrilling and scary experience because you want people to have a great experience, have a great time. The lights go down, you're like, please love this movie. And they're saying the same thing. Please be good. So we want the same things, and you hope you can connect and relate to that. But I mean, AJ, I'll say screenwriting is just it's the heart of it. And now, like, and just for example, why this has been so critical and why I'm such a big advocate for is because now I'm making this feature film, and I'm working with a core group of producers and writers right now to go over the script and make it the best version of itself. So I'm working with the screenwriter, and the screenwriter is a development executive. And I'm working with the producer, and she's also a screenwriter. And then here I am, the director, who's also a screenwriter. I've written 8 feature-length screenplays. So, but this isn't my screenplay I'm making. I'm making somebody else's. So we're all come to the table with such a strong story-driven background that we are just adding to this project in so many fruitful ways. It's like how can this not succeed? We have so many great ideas. We're thinking story first, character first, motivation first, twists and turns, all the things that a great story should do. We're all contributing in that way. So yeah, that would be my big piece of advice. If you're looking to venture into this world, it all starts at the page. Learn the basics. Start picking up some books. On my Instagram page, I show my whole morning routine. I take people through everything I do every single day. It's like, you want proof that I don't miss? Go there. You'll be like, man, this guy's a machine. And same thing with my writing. The same thing. I'll read screenwriting books, right? And I'll distill whatever I was reading from that day into a quote and an analysis, so people can hear the breakdown of that. So I'm talking about screenwriting every single day because also I do it for others. I'm also doing it for me because I have to keep that at the forefront. I have to take that into set and into my meetings, and that's a mindset thing as well. When you're talking to all these creatives and all these emotional creatures, you have to be able to speak in those terms and convey and personalize and humanize all of these things. So that's my sales pitch for screenwriting. I'm a big fan.
Wonderful, wonderful. How do you look at the present? Where earlier one has to go to ask for work. Now also it's the same thing, but now you also have the option to create your own work the way you want to and present it to the world. There is that new, say, creator economy that has come up. How do you look at this part? Is it going to be the future? Is it going to be more emphasis towards this, more of indie culture where people are creating stuff themselves. You know, give a perspective on this. Do you see, how do you see this whole trend coming up?
I I just think it's necessary. I think it's necessary. I don't think it's anything new, to be honest with you. Because part of my coming up in the industry, or before I entered into it, my undergrad emphasis was on the, film theory and critical studies. And when that's because we didn't have a production program. It was a little school. We had one camera you could rent, and that was it. So it was mostly all theoretical. And when you're in that type of framework, looking at the industry, you start looking at the history of film, and you look at all the film cycles that have occurred, whether it's like post World War II film, or French New Wave, or Italian neo-realism, or like the American Zoetrope '70s movement, and then there's the '90s New Wave, and now we've been ready for a new wave for over a decade, and it's been delayed and delayed and delayed, and there's been a lot of things happening in the entertainment industry that have led to that. But what happens with every single film cycle, whenever there's a new wave of cinema, there's stories being told in the margins by the people that are outside of the system, and these are the stories that start to resonate with the masses. And then all of a sudden the studios start to look over there and they say, what's going on with these people? Everyone's talking about those movies. We're putting all the millions of dollars in ads and marketing and actors and everything, and they're talking about this little $100,000
Right.
indie project, right? This has always happened. You'll hear those war stories of these '90s filmmakers where they'd shoot a movie over the course of like 15 weekends, buying film strip ends from like Kodak or Fujifilm. They'll just say, "Hey, can we just get whatever ends the major studios didn't use or they threw out, and we'll just piece that together. We'll stitch it together and make a movie off of that, and we'll put the whole thing on credit cards." And then you have a film career like Steven Soderbergh, or uh, um, Spike Jones, or Quentin Tarantino. I mean, they all had to do these things. Now we're in the digital age. Everyone's got the most powerful camera on planet Earth in their pocket. They can bring up their script on that. They can buy these lights for cheap. All of these things. You have all the tools available. That used to be a problem of the past. You couldn't have the physical assets. Now we have them. You can teach yourself to edit in a weekend with the help of YouTube if you wanted it bad enough. I've done it. I've had to make my own VFX shots out of just pure necessity, because my one film had so many shots I had to render 8,000 frames because my other VFX artists were busy working on more important shots. So, there, where there's necessity and there's these tools, you'll pick up and use them. What this will come down to is, who are the best storytellers? We're going to go back to the basics. Who can write the best and tell the best story? Because everyone can just pick up and shoot. Everyone's shooting the lights out of everything. Do you not see? It's hard to find someone standing out because there's so much noise. There's so much static. How does the cream rise to the top? Well, I think you go off and you make these little projects. I've been doing them. I'm so thankful I made them, because all of a sudden you have an opportunity, and one of these projects that you have made resonates so deeply with somebody they can't imagine anyone but you making it, because you walked that path before. Like the movie I'm making now, a part of why I even had the opportunity to make is because I made a short film several years ago and stayed in touch with this company throughout the years. And like, you made that movie. It's just like this movie. It's a proof of concept. Blah blah blah. You've navigated this minefield before, so you'll be a total asset in this situation. So I would encourage people to shoot, and shoot a lot and make a lot. You can. You really can. But if you want to be a filmmaker and understand story and storytelling, like really pursue that and know that, because that's a craft on its own. You watch any great YouTube channel, anyone who's really been able to thrive, they don't just randomly put stuff up on YouTube. I'm just going to make a video today. They script it out. They have some sort of skeleton structure of what they're going to say. Just like preparing for this, I'm sure, Jay, you had like an idea of some of the questions you want to ask. Like there's levels to this, right? So we want to make sure we're very thoughtful and meaningful. And if you're really thoughtful, then you're going to start to resonate with an audience, and that's our goal. Especially like me, I'm a director, so I'm the emotional shepherd of this material. I have to make sure these emotional touchstones are coming across for people, and they're feeling these beats and these moments, and know when to emphasize, and know when my actors need to bring it and when they need to pull back, when we need to go for it and really hit these moments. So I think Hollywood is so due for an overhaul and for a change, and that's why you see like the writer's strike and the actor's strike, and everyone's against like the studios and all this stuff. It's like, and there's here I am in the margins prepping for the new wave. I'm like, I want to be one of those new wave filmmakers. That's my goal. And everyone who's sitting at home that are all these creatives, they're available. So me and my producers reach out to them, and they're like, yeah, we want to work. We want to show the studios that we can continue to make content without their boot heel over us. Um, and now there's a place for studios too. I think those really skilled filmmakers and those high end productions are necessary. I think everyone's like has a goal that they're headed towards. I think there's a time and place for all of these things. So I think we're due for a new wave. People are going to rise up in the margins. There's people out there, hopefully, that they see this, that they're inspired to go shoot, create, and make. Because we all have awesome stories. We all have a way that we see the world that's unlike how anybody else could possibly see the world. Completely unique. So we want to see those things. And if it's a great story, well told, executed well enough, like as long if you can touch the heartstrings of people, if you can really tug on them, you can make someone cry, you can make someone laugh. They'll remember you. They'll be thankful for that experience, and they'll want to see what else you have. So, yeah, I think there's room for both, but there's always been the margins, and this is where the change happens. It's so important. It's like the Wild West all over again. It's a very exciting time.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we all have to watch out how this pans out, but I'm sure we are, everybody is in for much more better storytelling, perhaps. There is much to, talk about movies, about filmmaking, about direction, screenwriting, and this is just one episode. So how do people know more about you? What's the best way for them to get in touch with you, and also for people who want to get in touch with you for to engage with you professionally? What's the best way to do that?
Absolutely. Well, I put up my Instagram account on the screen. I'm Evan B. Matthews on Instagram. I love to share what I'm doing, my routine, of course. I've mentioned that, but I'm also taking people on the journey with me. Anyone who wants to see what it's like to make a debut feature film, like just come and check me out and watch. You have questions, ask. I love to interact with people. I'm an open book. I just want to provide value. I want other people to win. I know the things that I've done in my life have worked for me, and I've seen the difference it makes and the change. Me and my twin brother, we also have a coaching program we run to like help people with mindset and discipline and habits and nutrition and overcoming obstacles in our life. So that's something that we do on the side, and we have like coaching calls with like a group, or we have one-on-one if that's a right fit for you. So we want to make ourselves available to people to share what we've done and how we've managed to grow and overcome and be successful. So I think in the world we can feel beaten down. Sometimes we can see, if we want to, we can look at the bad news and let that affect us, or say, you know what, I can't worry about that. It's bigger than me. All I can worry about is my world, my family, my people, those who look up to me, who depend on me, that I want to provide for, give value to. That's my focus. If like that part of your world is right, then your world is right, because that's everything. That really is everything. Anything that whatever's going on in the circus outside of your little home and bubble and your friends, like it really can't touch you as long as you're right. You can overcome anything they try to throw at you if you're right here, because it just trickles down to everywhere else in your life. So yeah, they can reach out to me on Instagram. I love sharing. If people have questions, I'm happy to answer them. I post questions too to see where people are at and what they want to hear about. So yeah, that's that.
With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you, AJ.